Your Allen Houston jersey today.
That's right.
Over your, I guess, your hoodie sweatshirt there. So you're all fired up for today's game. Hey, look, Clint Capela, he just put the bulletin board material up there. So you can't ask for anything more if you're Tom Thibodeau. Honestly, you can't. And I know that a lot of people out there don't understand what this does and how this can actually ignite a team. And it will bring the team together. The team has struggled. The team has been... It has been insulted. It's been embarrassed. It's been criticized. Everything that you could possibly say about the Knicks in this series negatively has been said. And now Clint Capela is just adding like whipped cream right on the top of all of this.
Yeah.
And if you do have a sense of pride, which I know the players do, there's no question about it. They're playing hard. They're just not hitting shots. And whatever's happening with the rotation and how, Tom Thibodeau has basically changed the way that he had played during the regular season and now is playing differently with different players at different spots at different times in the game. All of that stuff now comes down to what Clint Capela said. And if I was a player, I'd be pissed and it would be on the bulletin board. I don't care what anybody says. And I know it sounds juvenile and I know it sounds like they're professional basketball players. None of this should matter. And I don't think the Knicks will say any of it matters. But, I point to a huge series between Montreal and Toronto. Montreal found themselves in the same exact situation. Down 3-1. Everybody in Toronto thinking, okay, Toronto's going to go move on and play Winnipeg in the North Division Finals. And you know what? Montreal somehow, some way mustered up everything that they possibly could get from their goalie all the way out to their low-scoring team, and they beat this high-scoring Toronto Maple Leaf team.
Yeah,
so if you are the Knicks...
Boomer weaved hockey into this conversation.
So if you are the Knicks, you have to say to yourself, you know what, Clint Capela, go screw. This is going to motivate us to at least get this game. We are not losing this game in our building. We're not losing this series in our building.
Well, a couple of things. One, the first round of the NBA, generally when you're down 3-1, you end up losing the series. I do feel like, and this is a compliment to postseason NHL hockey, playoff hockey and the way that it is, you feel like if you're down 3-1 in a series, even if it's the first round, you can come back and win because it happens more in that sport than it does in the NBA. But also, it is different when the opponent starts talking like this.
Chirping, yes.
And this is something that I wanted to ask you about because you've seen it all. You were on back pages. People were crushing you at times in your career. But if an opponent, especially in a series now where this is Game 5, you played them 3 or 4 times in the regular season, you played them now 4 games in this series, the opponent is disrespecting you in this way, publicly like this. I mean, it's, all right, you want to trash talk on the court, fine, that happens all the time. But to go out this cocky, this confident, we're coming to your house and send you on vacation, that is different than the back page of the New York Post saying New York bricks or whatever it says after these losses. I mean, this ratchets it up a level that only something like this could do. And I know that the Knicks reacted. Derrick Rose said, hey, I'm 32 years old, whatever he said. I haven't talked trash in my life. I'm not going to start now. Julius Randle said, I don't care. Yeah, they're not adding fuel to a fire.
Right, exactly.
Behind the scenes, these guys are stewing. They better be stewing because if they're not the team I thought they were.
Believe me, they are. They 100% are. And, you have to remember back when you did play football at Bellport, you remember how coaches would use these kind of psychological games.
Well, I told you about one that was a great one where they pretended that West Islip came to our locker room and drew a lion because they're the West Islip Lions on our locker room door. And I found out later it was actually the coaches that did that.
Yeah. Well, there's
to
a lot
try
of
to fire us up.
By the way, there's a lot of that's going on in today's society.
Yeah.
But in the world of sports, I mean, it is the purest form of motivation is to feel like as if you are being disrespected. You know that, I know that. The players of the Knicks are reacting smartly to it, chirping wise, and in terms of they really have nothing to chirp about, especially with the way that they have played.
Well, that's the other part.
I mean, even Game 2 was not a great game. And it's even if they win this game, they're going to have a hell of a time down in Atlanta for Game 6. But this is exactly what the Knicks needed, I think. So I'd like to thank Clint Capela for at least enlightening some of the Knicks players about just how embarrassing this performance has been and how bad it has been.
But you know what? On the other end of it, if the Knicks do come out and get smacked around like they did in games 3 and 4 after Clint Capela said this, I mean, we have to think of it. Everybody, the consensus is, this is going to inspire the Knicks. They can't go down like this. It's at the Garden crowd. But what if they do?
Well, if they do, then that's a whole other set of circumstances that we will be discussing tomorrow, depending on whatever happens. But
is there anything worse than when someone talks this type of trash and backs it up?
Well, Michael Jordan would talk this trash. Reggie Miller would talk this trash. And by the way, Reggie Miller is going to be in the house tonight. He's doing the game with Marv.
Yeah.
And, it's one thing to have one villain in the game in terms of Trae Young, in terms of his basketball playing and his ability and what he's been doing to the Knicks. It's another thing to have not only Trae Young in the house, but Reggie Miller in the house.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, it's a little tough to swallow for us, but it's always been this way for the Knicks, with the exception of back in 69 and 73, I think, whatever it was. But it's always been hard for the Knicks. It's always been hard, and this has been hard for the Knicks. And it really comes down to, again, like I said at the beginning of all of this, how do you contain Trae Young is really the biggest thing. And then the next thing after that is, Julius Randle can't be turning the ball over, walking, fumbling around, throwing up bricks, missing the rim sometimes.
It's as simple as that. Yeah,
balls going off his hands out of bounds. I mean, I've never seen his series has been so inept and so bad. Maybe he's trying to become comeback player of the year again next year. I don't know what it is, but hopefully he gets his game right tonight and he becomes a part of the reasons why they win, as opposed to the ISO ball that we have watched now these last 3 games or 4 games that has just not been great. It's just not been great at all.
I'm not ready for this to be over yet. I don't want it to be over yet. I may be saying something differently tonight if the Knicks are down 13-14 again. Then I'll be like, you know what? Now I do want it to be over because I can't stand watching this anymore. But I really do believe there's at least some life in them tonight. And I wanted to on Sunday just totally say they're done because it was that bad, but I can't. After these couple of days off.
Of course you can't. You're a fan.
I can't.
You want your team to win.
I haven't bought a Knicks jersey since 1999. That's the one I'm wearing now.
Yeah, we can see that.
Yes, this is the Allen Houston Nike Swingman that I have hung on to for whatever that is, 20-something years, 22 years that I've hung on to this jersey. So I want this to continue desperately, and it's going to leave a bad taste in all of our mouths if they go out to the Atlanta Hawks like this.
I want to see what Thibodeau does with his rotation and how he makes any sort of adjustment. This is what we brought him here for. He's been a great coach, gave us a great season, and gave us a great second half of the season especially. And the fact that they were able to win their last 3 home games the way they did and get the 4 seed tells me that they can go on a 3-game winning streak. But you can't go on a 3-game winning streak until you win the first of those 3 games, and that's tonight. And that's where the whole pride factor comes in. Watching the Nets last night, I'm still holding that they're going to be 16-5 and they're going to win an NBA championship, assuming that the big 3 stay healthy. Now, I know that they have this is going to be, to me, this is the NBA championship, Milwaukee versus the Nets. These are the 2 best teams.
Well, sure. And
that's what I think.
Especially with the Anthony Davis injury now and the Joel Embiid injury. I mean, you're right. I mean, you can really make that case as the Nets take care of the Celtics in 5 games. And I expect the Nets to beat the Bucks, but that will actually be a basketball series as opposed to what we just watched between these 2 teams. So that'll be at least fun, but I'm not even ready to turn the page here on round 1 with the Knicks, because if the Knicks get eliminated and it's all Nets the rest of the way, for us Knicks fans, it is going to be a long road.
I mean, Kyrie Irving said it last night. We got 3 of the best scorers the NBA has ever seen.
Yeah.
And they can go to either one of those guys at any time to get their own shot. Like that's the difference in the NBA. You get 3 guys like that, they can create their own shots. And if Harden's controlling the flow of the game, no-look passes and three-point bombs and rebounds, and I mean, it's ridiculous just how effortlessly it looks to them. And that's the reason why NBA teams want to have superstars. The Knicks don't have, Derrick Rose was a superstar at one time, and he's playing at a very high level. But when you watch those 3 guys play, I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable how easy and just how good they have now come together, and they played when they've only played like 8 games together coming into the playoffs.
Yeah, it just shows you that talent will always rule in the NBA.
Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the red bell so you're notified when we have new content.